message that he's praying for us, and he's concerned, asking how things are going in Colombia and in other places where the Lord has had us laboring these last few years. But it's great to be back in St. Thomas.
Amen.
And I can't say enough for what God has done here, Pastor Eloy. But when I see this, I not only see the grace of God, but I see the hard work of you, your staff, and many, many volunteers. And so praise the Lord. This is for the honor of God.
Amen.
I was here when this was just a lot. I remember. And then when you were in the first stages of the construction. Well, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Nation to Nation University. Nation to Nation University was started in the heart of two pastors that were connected with the Elim organization. Maybe some of you have heard of Elim out of New York and out of England. And some years ago, these two pastors, they were being sent to different countries to train leaders and to teach them how to get into ministry. And they were spending long flights and long hours going back and forth. And one day they were coming back and they said, there's got to be a better way to do it and more effective. And so they prayed about it, and they came up with a program that they felt that they could, instead of having them go, they could have the local pastors be able to be facilitators of the program, and this way reach more people, and it would be done with the autonomy and the leadership of the local church and for the local region. And it could be done at whatever hours is best for the local church, what day is best, and in the schedule that it was best according to the region of the world that the classes would be taught in. But what they did is they got together a group of teachers, of Bible teachers, Spirit-filled, strong Bible teachers, and they assigned each one of them some specific subjects, and they came up with a curriculum that would be equivalent to a 4-year college degree, a Bachelor of Arts degree or a 2-year Associate of Arts degree. And they narrowed it down so it could be done 1 day a week, and in that 1 day they could do 3 sessions, and if they did 12 of those weeks doing that, they could do each trimester, and as they continue they could do all the material and cover it and everything that needed to be studied, and they would do it through videos and with a workbook. So the way that you would get is you get a workbook just like the one I have in my hand, or now you also have the option where we give you a PDF and you locally can print this and put it in your own. You can, instead of having in the front the Nation to Nation logo, let's say that you want to have your local church logo and you want to have the cover of the local church. You could just do that, and then just inside print and put all the material, and that way you present it as part of your ministry of the local church, as a pastor or as a ministry, or in this case of the covenant ministers here that are in fellowship together, you could do it. You have both options, and you can do it either way. We can provide you the workbook just like the one I have in my hand, or you can do it locally and tailor it to your design. And so that it gives you that option. Then here you have in the workbook every single class. Every class, this for instance, the session 1 is this, there's a video for this. Friday night we're going to look at session 1, session 2, and session 3. We're going to do a class just like you would do it, and how we would train the facilitators to do it. And we will do that Friday night. And so you go through the video, and as the video is going through, the students have the workbook right there, and they're following. Everything that the teacher's saying is in the workbook. All right? Then at the end of each session, we have a question and answer period, and we have that for discussion, and we have a small quiz. Every session finishes with a quiz. So the facilitator, or the instructor, if you want to call them that, he or she is responsible at the end of each session to present the quiz. The quiz is usually only 3 to 5 questions. It's very short. Most of the questions are true and false questions, so they're easy, but it's kind of just to review what they just saw and what they just heard. So that's part of what the facilitator does. Now, that quiz, they answer it in a page. So before you get to class that night, the facilitator has to print the amount of quizzes according to how many students are in the class. Now tonight here I'm talking to pastors and to future facilitators. That's what this is here tonight. So I'm giving you the information of what a facilitator does, and I'm giving you the information so that you as a pastor know what you have to oversee. And it's very important that those quizzes that are printed at every session, because you pass them out to the students when they come in after they sign into the roster, and I'll talk more about that a little later. And then you give them that quiz sheet, and at the end of the night, all 3 quizzes, you pick them up, because those 3 quizzes are part of the overall grade. And as a facilitator, you need to keep those quizzes. Now, we don't need them at Nation to Nation, but you need them here locally, because we have to certify, because it is accredited, and we give a diploma. We don't give a certificate of completion. At the end of the 2-year program or the 4-year program, depending on what you choose to do and what the students choose to do, they get a diploma, either an Associate of Arts degree in Biblical Studies or a Bachelor of Arts degree in Biblical Studies. And so to be able to back that up, we have to have from each student the certification by the local church, by the local college, that they did take the quizzes. We also have a midterm. Now the midterm is exactly what it is. Halfway through the semester, there's a midterm test. We provide that midterm for you. And we have a packet that we call the facilitator packet, which is this one that I'm holding in my hand here. This one's sealed. I brought it sealed, and I will give this to one of the, we're going to start one school here, so I'll give it to the director of that school. And from here, this is all the material for the facilitator. The students don't get this. In here are the answers to the quizzes. In here are the midterm tests, the answers to the test, and here are the final test and the answers. But the only person that gets this is the facilitator, so that you can grade the quizzes, so that you can grade also the final exams. And those final exams have to be picked up. They must be put in a folder, and they have to be archived and kept at the local church or at the local college. So at the end of the 2-year program or 4-year program, for every student, we have a profile. We keep his or her school records, where are all the quizzes, all the midterms, and all the final exams are there. And so this is, as you can see, the facilitator packet is not very big. It's not very complicated. It's very easy. All you do is just kind of just follow. And you just follow through. It just walks you right through it. It's easy to do. But it must be done. And it must be done tediously. It must be done with excellence, because those are the records of that student. And it's the responsibility of the local college, with the local oversight of the local church, to keep those records for each student. So, also the facilitator, or the local pastor, or one of the, however the local church chooses, if you have somebody on staff and that's perhaps a teacher type person, or he's someone that you as the pastor use for teaching classes in your ministry, then you can assign him to also come in and just give some complimentary thoughts every now and then. He or she doesn't have to come to every class, but they can have a copy of the notebook, and they can look at the different subjects and say, you know, I think I'd like to go on the night of when they're talking about reaching your destiny. and then that person can come and share 5-10 minutes and just kind of a compliment of what was said. That way the students don't only get what the material is from the video, but also the local pastors and the local church. You can give them of your own DNA. You can share with them some of your own thoughts, some of the experience. Some things are taught in a general topic. You can bring it down to a local topic in those times. And you have the option to do that. You also have the freedom and the option that if you consider that one of the subjects is not something that you want the students to learn, though we've not had that experience yet as long as I've been associated with them, but if you feel that maybe, that's just not exactly the direction that you would like for the students to learn, you have the option to not teach that session that night. You could, but then teach another one, keep the outline, keep the quiz, and make sure that at the grading time, and when the dean gives the report or the director gives the report to us for the certificate and for the completion of the semester, that attached to that student's records, we have that on such night, we, the local church, decided to substitute subject such and such for this one, and these were the highlights, or these were the notes of that class. And we only do that for accountability, and also so that we have a general idea of what the student got. So I share this with you so that, especially those of you that are the pastors, because the program is set up so that the local church can use it as a tool to disciple, to train, and to teach their members that are wanting to serve and get into full-time ministry, some of them. And so the whole purpose behind the program was that they felt that the local church sometimes didn't have the time, didn't have the resources, and so this way it takes a lot of work from the local leadership, and it brings in more of the academic professionals to come in and train your people. As you will see in the videos on Friday night, they're very well done. All the videos are professionally recorded in a studio setting. The sound is very good, the quality is good, and as a matter of fact, they just now purchased some brand new cameras, and they just inaugurated a new building back in Texas. I was just there a few weeks ago, and they're making some new videos now to some of the classes in the upper semesters, which are, when I say the upper, 9, 10, 11, and 12, which is the last year of the BA program. And they're changing a few of those classes, and they're re-recording those. They're also recording now, finishing recording the full program in Spanish, and they're also now translating into French, and I believe there's some African dialect that they're doing it that I'm not too sure which it is. In Africa, Nation to Nation has about 600 colleges right now. They're all over Africa. Almost every African country, many of the churches there are using the Nation to Nation program. Dr. Brick, he was just there in November and had about 4 graduations, and I think in total they graduated over 2,000 students in the different colleges in Africa. They also have them in the Philippines and down in Mexico. We're starting 2 of these in Colombia here within the next couple of months. I'm starting another one in Puerto Rico. And so it's been designed and it's been made so that it would relieve the local church from time and effort and expenses, and then their people can get some quality training. And I just graduated a class in Texas in November. We graduated 62 students, and some of those students, I mean, they really came out of there very well equipped. Some of them have gone into ministry right now. They're right now in ministry. Matter of fact, we hired at the local church where I am right now in San Benito, we hired 2 of the students to be part of the staff. And so those students that excel, that really learn what the material is, it's very, very advantageous for them. A few things that are important for you to know as the local pastors and the local facilitators is that the cost that Nation to Nation has put on the material for the student, we've tried to make the cost accessible to everyone.